Hi, did you miss the January 2026 cohort of the Money Click program? Come closer. Relax. Don't worry, you haven't missed your chance. A new cohort is starting in March, and this is a golden opportunity for you to step into a real financial transformation. And if you've been waiting for the right time to take control of your money, this is it. The program begins on March 22nd, 2026. Leave us a comment or send us a DM to secure your spot. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Your financial journey can start now.
Okay, welcome to another Wednesday live session here on Instagram, and Facebook, and YouTube, and TikTok. You are all welcome. You're welcome here today. Welcome to this live session. And in today's live session, we're going to be looking at how to budget in a high inflation economy. How to budget in a high inflation economy. Welcome everyone who have joined us, Tita Academy. I see you, NK Pretty. I see you. I see you all who have joined us, especially on YouTube and Facebook. We see you, and we're glad that you are here. Those who have joined us on Instagram, we also see you, and we are very happy that you are here with us today. So thank you, and thank you for being here. Today is going to be very interesting because we're going to be looking at quite some very interesting topics that affect every one of us, right? Something that affects everybody, almost everybody, all of us, not almost, all of us, no matter where you are on the surface of earth. Inflation is something that affects everybody, right? So we'll get right into it, and let's see, and let's get to learn one or two things. Okay, so how to budget in a high inflation economy. You know, budgeting in a high inflation economy is not about perfection. It's about adaptation. That's what you should have in your mind. It's not about perfecting your budget. It's about adapting to situations as it changes and changes very quick. You know, when prices rise every week, when income stays the same as the prices are rising, right? When the cost of basic living amenities keeps shifting, traditional budgeting can feel very unrealistic, right? But here's the truth: inflation doesn't remove the need for budgeting, it makes it more necessary. Because a lot of people feel the prices are changing every week. Why am I even bothering myself doing anything concerning a budget? Why am I budgeting? The prices are just keep changing. You go to the market today, you come back tomorrow, it's a different price. People say that a lot. You go to the market today, you come back tomorrow, it's a different price. Why am I bothering myself doing a budget? Why? Why am I doing it? What's even the aim of the budget? What's the need for the budget if prices keep changing this fast? Right? But the thing is, the fact that prices are changing quite quickly, right? Every week, every day is the reason why you should even budget more. So in economies like Nigeria and many parts of Africa, budgeting has to become flexible. It has to become strategic. It has to become protective and not rigid. Not rigid, sorry. Because when your budget is rigid, it means that you would not be able to adapt to the realities of life. So the first thing you need to do when you're budgeting in a high inflation economy like Nigeria or several other parts of Africa is that you must first understand the reality of inflation. That's the first thing, right? What does inflation mean? Inflation means your money loses value over time. Inflation means that the same salary buys less every month. Inflation means that fixed plans quickly become outdated. Why? Because the value, the purchasing power of the currency is changing. So budgeting is no longer about strict numbers alone. If you do it that way in a fast changing inflation economy, you're going to get stuck. You're going to have issues. Budgeting is more now about priorities. It's more now about buffers. It's more now about quick adjustments, right? And if you don't understand this, you're going to struggle with budgeting, especially if you're in Nigeria, especially if you're in other parts of Africa. So you must understand the reality of inflation. Now, I want us to take point by point how and the things that you should do to budget in a high inflation economy. And the first thing to have in mind is that you must budget for categories and no longer fixed prices. Traditionally, when you're doing your budget, what you do is that you budget according to price. You have price for this, you have fixed amount for that, you have amount for groceries every month, you have amount for this every month. That's how you structure yourself. But in an economy that is fast changing in relation to inflation, right, you need to change your strategy. If you budget exact prices, you'll get frustrated. So instead of saying rice 10,000, transportation 15,000, you have to change your budget to begin to speak in the way of range. Food becomes dash range. Food becomes, let's say, 10,000 to 15,000, because you know that anything can change. And food within a space of let's say you do your budget every month, you know that because the inflation is high, you know that food within a space of, and especially in places like Africa, the inflation is even mostly on food items. Especially Nigeria, inflation is mostly on food. Food has the highest rate of inflation, right? So you're telling yourself through your budget that, okay, food, instead of saying 10,000 for rice, you tell yourself rice will be 10,000 to 15,000, because you know that within the space of that month, it can fluctuate within those prices. So you put in your budget with a range. You know that you're in an economy that fuel prices keep going up and down. So instead of having a fixed price for transportation, you put it in a range. You tell yourself, this month I'm going to spend between 20,000 to 30,000 for transportation. You put it in a range. Now, what this does for you is that it gives you room to adjust without feeling like you failed. If you put your budget for transportation at 20,000 and something happens within the month and you eventually spend 28,000, not because you did not do what you're supposed to do, but clearly because of inflation, clearly because prices change. Sometimes you feel like you failed. Sometimes you feel like, oh, I didn't do well. So to avoid that feeling, put your plans within a range. And the truth is that when your budget becomes flexible, it survives more. You get to stick to it better, right? You stick to it better than a rigid one. But if you keep telling yourself, this month you put transportation at 20,000, it didn't work out. Next month you say, okay, let me move it to 30,000. It still won't work out. It still would continue to keep it working out because you're not doing the right thing. Because you're boxing yourself in one position. And if you keep doing it that way, every month you will tell yourself this thing is not working. Give yourself 2-3 months, you stop budgeting entirely. Why? Because it's not working. See, we tend to do more of the things that work. And when we can prove to ourselves that it's no longer working, then we'll stop doing it. That's human nature. So month 1, you did it 10,000, it didn't work. Month 2, you did it again, you say, let me increase by 10,000, you 20,000, it didn't work. You will feel frustrated and you will dump the budget entirely. And the moment you dump the budget completely, that's when things start to go south for you. So what you need to do is put it within a range. If you put the range of 10 to 20, if it falls within 29, you know that things can change next month. Next month, you increase the range, right? So ensure that it's flexible. When you use range, that's when it makes it flexible. It makes it flexible. I'll tell you something about change and flexibility. In some parts of the world, when the buildings are built to be strong and firm. If you're building in a place like Nigeria, right, where there are no earthquakes or history of earthquakes or earth tremors, When you're building, the buildings are solid and they are solid and compact together. Now, when you're building in a place like Japan, where there is frequent things like earthquakes or tsunamis can happen, then it means that when you're building, you need to allow for flexibility. When the buildings are solidly strong, when there's a force against that building, the building will fall, it will collapse. But when the joints in the building are flexible, it means that when the tremors happen, right, the building will just shake. It will shake. It will shake. But it won't fall. It won't collapse. That was the same principle that was used to build the Burj Khalifa. Now, because the Burj Khalifa is as high as it is, now the architects thought, what can we do? Because high up there is wind speed that can bring down a building. So Burj Khalifa was made to be flexible. So within a certain amount of speed, Burj Khalifa can sway a little. It can sway a little. Trust me, if it was built to be solid and strong, right? If it was built to be rigid, it will break. It won't withstand the pressure high up there. If buildings in an earthquake environment are solid, they would not withstand any form of earthquake. But when it's flexible, it leaves room for the building to move. So the building moves along with it. And if it moves along with it, that's when it stands the quake. Right? That's when it withstands the quake. Thank you so much, Ma. I'm proud of you too for making it live to this our live session here today. Well done. And well done to everybody who is here. Right? So we must learn to be flexible, especially when you know that you are in an environment where flexibility is your strength. If you're swimming and you want to use all your strength and put yourself stiff in the water, you won't float. What helps you float in water is that flexibility. What helps you float in water is letting yourself go. So you must understand your environment and understand how to adapt in it, and how to adapt in a high inflation environment while budgeting is to be flexible with it. Make it flexible. Number 2 is to prioritize needs. Not just to prioritize needs, in fact, prioritize needs ruthlessly. You need to prioritize your needs ruthlessly. Right? It is in inflation that you will truly understand what needs truly are. Inflation exposes what needs truly matters. So you must separate your expenses into different forms of needs. In fact, within needs, there are different forms of needs. There are 3 categories, or there are the 2 categories of needs that you can divide your needs into: survival needs and stability needs. When you understand that some needs are survival, some needs are just there to ensure stability, then prioritization becomes easier for you. Right? That's why a lot of people, when price of things increase, they are stuck. They don't know what to do anymore. Why? Because they don't understand prioritization. What are survival needs? Survival needs are things like food, shelter, transport, health. You need them to survive. What are stability needs? Stability needs are things like savings, debt repayment. You need them to become financially stable. Right? And then you have another category that you can also bring in when you're separating your expenses. And that's lifestyle wants. There are things like outings, upgrades, entertainment. You know, when money becomes tight, wants will start adjusting. Needs don't need to be adjusted. Certain needs. And it's not punishment. It's you protecting yourself. One way that you can adjust yourself in an inflationary environment is to do away with much wants and focus on the needs. Focus on the needs. Oh, let's say you used to go out for outings once in a week. You can decide that you reduce it to once a month. Let's say you used to eat out before. You decide now I have to make every meal. But you must adjust. You must adjust according to your priorities. And your priorities first start with your survival needs. Because you need to survive. You need to be alive. Your survival needs and then your stability needs, which is your savings, your debt repayments. And if anything is left, then little can go to wants. But you see, the problem that we have, even when there is no inflation, is that when we are budgeting, when we are spending, take away budgeting, when we are spending, the first thing we do is to prioritize our wants. That's the first thing we do. We prioritize our wants. There's that thing in your mind that you've always wanted to buy. The moment your income comes, that's the first thing you pay for. That means it's your want to prioritize. Oh, you've always wanted to have a particular kind of bag, right? The moment you are paid, is that bag you pay for the first. That bag is the first thing you purchase. That means that your priorities are wrong. Some of us, our priorities are very wrong. They are very wrong. And it's because we do not know. Something happened last year, sometime in September last year. So I was teaching a group of teenagers in a program that we call Smart Money Kids Workshop. And mind you, that program is coming up again in the month of April for our teenagers and our children. So we hold it every holiday. We hold it during Easter holiday, during the long vacation, and during Christmas. So last year we had the program, and we're talking about needs and wants. And then I asked the teenage girls, is a week a need or a want? 90% of them said in a week was a need, that you need it. So you see, prioritization is also a thing of programming. You know, I talk a lot about programming and conditioning. So even as teenagers, they have already been conditioned. They've already been conditioned not to prioritize right. They've already been conditioned to see the human hairs and wigs as a need. As a need. I asked them another question. Makeup or your face, is it a need or a want? They said that I shouldn't even go there. They said I shouldn't go there, sir. Don't go there. How can you ask that question? A makeup is a need. Can you leave the house without it? Then it also shows where we've come to get it wrong, even with the children. That they see things like makeup as a need. Now, take that and multiply it in our lives as adults. Then you will see how wrongly we've been approaching our finances. We've been approaching our finances from the point of the wrong prioritization. We've been prioritizing the wrong things with our money. But I believe that, okay, I see you, but welcome. You've been prioritizing the exact wrong things. Our priorities have been wrong. We've been focused on our wants more. Some of us, when we have bulk money, once bulk money comes into our hands, we start thinking of that car we've always been looking for. We start thinking of one thing, one want. Probably we'll have a car already, or you have a car already, but you're thinking of upgrading because it has been in your mind to upgrade the car. Now, you didn't think of your stability needs. There are people who buy new cars, but they have debts. That's lack of priority. They buy new cars, but they have debts that they still owe. That's one of the highest forms of lack of prioritization. So when you don't prioritize well, there is no magic that will happen. Your budget will fail. You know, prioritization even becomes wrong when we mortgage our future. What do I mean? You know, there are some of us who work in government settings. And you know, there's something about government setting. Is buying things on credit. Buying things on credit. You know, the first time Um, I think that was during my IT for my first degree. So I worked at the Ministry of Health in Owerri. And the first thing I noticed was people buy things highest on credit. Civil servants buy the most on credit. They will just sit in the secretariat and people will pass by. They already know them. They will bring material, they will collect and pledge. They will bring okporoko, stockfish, they will collect and pledge. By the time the next month arrives, you see people paying up for a lot of things that they actually do not need. They were just ones that they were pushed. They were pushed by impulse to purchase ahead of time. So now they have to pay for it. They have to pay for it. So these are the issues. Before the month starts, you've bought shoes, you've bought bags, you've bought hair, you have not even paid for. So the moment your money arrives, you start dishing out money to those things. And by the time you're done, you have not even started taking care of one need. Everything has gone to once. Everything. Disgrace himself, not me. The network has been quite unstable these days. Honestly, at this point, we don't even know which one to go for anymore. Because we run to this one, Wahala. We run to that one, Wahala. I don't want to mention their names. There was one recently that told us that they have device that will be outside that will catch the network faster. We went for that one. Still, it's not giving us what we want. Anyway, welcome back. Welcome back. Right. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you. I see that, Mrs. Nancy. Thank you so much. Welcome here. All right. So prioritization is key. Thank you very much, Mr. Ifan Victor. Welcome. The prioritization is key. See, if you don't prioritize, like even in our businesses, but in our businesses, we even lack prioritization because in businesses, you have to budget. I'll tell you something. I was having a discussion with one of the coaches in the TIP Academy, and she told me about her mentee who was running a business. Now, the business was yielding about 20 million per annum, but thereabouts. But her operating costs was like 13 million. Crazy. Operating cost was like 13 million. This before the person even stabilized with the business, she already rented apartments. She rented a shop building for almost 10 million, 9 million plus to rent a shop space, the office space. People have the wrong priorities. And that's the reason why we fail with money. First is because of lack of prioritization. Putting your money where it is not required to be. And here is the truth you need to understand, especially when it comes to separating your needs from your wants. Your wants have the bigger pull on you than your needs. Your needs are there for you you require your needs to survive, but your wants have a bigger pull. See, before you think about money for food for the next month, that bag that has been entering your eye, you would want to spend on it first, forgetting that you need to survive. That's a problem with wants. Your wants have a bigger pull on you than your needs. Remember, we are very much emotional beings, right? We're emotional beings. So our emotions would always want to take place, would always want to take the upper hand before logic. It is left for us to always remind ourselves. Yes, we are here to rewire. It is left for us to always hear the truth. And part of rewiring is why you're here. Hearing the truth consistently makes it become a part of you. And that's the reason why everybody should always be a part of these live sessions every week. Why? You need to hear it the more. The more you hear it, the more it becomes part of your subconscious. And it becomes part of your subconscious to the point where it begins to direct your life. So before you make even purchases, you ask yourself, do I need this thing or do I just want it? Do I need it or do I just want it? Right? Prioritization is not punishment. Don't tell yourself that now that you have to first take care of your bills, have to take care of your health bills, you have to take care of money for food, transportation, and all things like that, that you are not punishing yourself. No, it's not. Do you know that a lot of people earn salaries, but before the month ends, they don't even have money for transportation to go to the place that is giving them the money? You know why? Because of wrong prioritization. Because they spent their money on other things that they were not required to. And now the thing that is giving you money, you're struggling to meet up with it. Okay? Let's move on. Number three. Number three of how to budget in a high inflation economy is to pay yourself first. Even if it's small, no matter how small, pay yourself first. You know, many people stop saving during inflation. Once inflation, they feel like, what are we saving for again? You know, one woman told me one day on social media, I beg, make I chop first before I begin the talk about saving. But it becomes very dangerous when you stop saving at all. It becomes dangerous. Saving in inflation is not about the amounts. Saving in any time is not about the amount. It's about the habits. It's about the habits. So if you say that, you stop saving because we're in an inflation and you can't meet up, you will be building the habit of not saving. See, everything you do runs on habits. Everything. So even when you think, don't worry, I'll do it later, you are building a habit even as you are waiting to do it later. So as you're telling yourself, no, this inflation, saving is so difficult now, it's not even possible, I beg, I can't meet up. You are building a habit of not saving. Even if the economy gets better tomorrow, you still won't save. You still won't save. You know, that's what I say when I tell people about, whenever I tell people about, sorry, I think I'll have to very quickly switch the networks because so that's why everything we do with money is about habits. Our habits determine our behavior. Right? Our habits determine our behavior. Please, I would like to know if you can still see me. Those on YouTube, can you see me? Those on Instagram, can you see me? I would like to get your responses. Those on Facebook as well, can you see me, please? Please let me know if you can see and hear me clearly, just to make sure that the network we're using is serving us right. Please, can you see? Can you hear me? Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. I see you. I see your comments. Okay, great. Great. Loud and clear. Thank you. All right. Happy to hear that. Okay. So pay yourself first. Everything we do is a habit. Is a habit. Some of us say, we're going through Money Management 101 class, and if you're not part of that course, trust me, you're missing something. You need to be in the Money Management 101 course, and you can still join us, right? You can still join us. Just in case you want to join us, you can get replays for the past 2 days of lessons that we've done, right? And then we will continue with today. You replay for the past 2 days, and you get replay for today. Oh, now I see who has been chatting with Ifeanyi Victor. That's Apostle Ifeanyi. Happy to have you here, sir. Welcome, my apostle. Happy to have Apostle Ifeanyi here today. When I saw Ifeanyi Victor, I didn't even know it was Apostle. Welcome, Apostle. It's an honor to have you in this live stream. All right. Okay, so let's move on. All All right, so everything we do is a habit. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you. Everything we do is a habit. Everything. So we must watch the habit we're building. So even in not doing something, you're building a habit. That's the problem. So as you're saying, I can't save, is not going well for me, you're building a habit. And even when things become better, you will stick with that habit. So pay yourself first, no matter how little. Right? No matter how little. Even if it's 5K that you bring set aside for savings, set it aside every month. Be consistent with it. As you're consistent with it, what is happening is that you're building a habit. The amount does not matter when it comes to habits. The amount doesn't matter. What matters is what you're doing and the consistency at which you're doing it. And when you're saving, you must ensure that your savings is the first thing. When you budget, ensure that your savings is the first thing that leaves when your money comes. When your income comes, let your savings be the first thing that leaves you. Right? And when you save first, you create emergency buffer for yourself, no matter how little. Like I've told a lot of times, told us, one of the reasons why our budgets don't work is because we do not have emergency buffers, which we're still going to come to as the 6th point. Right? So when you save first, you have emergency buffer. You have psychological safety. You have reduced borrowing. Because you know there's a safety net somewhere. You know there's something you can run to when things are not working out so well. They're supposed to, the way it's supposed to. And inflation will punish those without buffers the most. Because when things hit hard and you do not have that buffer to fall back to, you will end up borrowing. Number 4 is increased budget reviews. That's one of the things we need to do to budget in a high inflation economy. We need to increase our budget reviews. We need to increase it. See, in stable economies, monthly budgeting works. In stable economies, it works. In an inflationary economy, right? Monthly budgeting often becomes too slow. See, before you can change your budget, the inflation has hit you back. Before you can recover to the next month, you can't even find yourself anymore. So you have to change your strategy. If you know you're in an economy where the inflation is high, you must review your budget every week. Every week or at most bi-weekly. Because prices are changing very fast. Right? Expenses are shifting. And also, in some certain climes, income also shifts very fast in those kind of situations. So budgeting becomes a living document, not a fixed plan for you. It's a living document. Number 5 is to separate money by purpose. Separate money by purpose. See, when inflation hits, impulse spending increases. So you must ensure that you protect yourself by separating your bills money, separate food money, separate savings, separate transportation, separate spending money. Have different purposes for your money. Have different purposes. When you have purpose for your money, right, then your impulse and even the inflation has less power over you or over your behavior. Structure creates discipline and it makes it automatic. And when you separate your money by purpose, you have put in structure. That's what you did. You just put structure. I'll give expo for those who are not in the Money Click program. For those who are in the Money Click program, we would always remind you that one way you can put that structure is by adopting the sub-account method of budgeting or the envelope method of budgeting. The envelope method of budgeting is that you withdraw all your money in cash and categorize, put it according to purpose in different envelopes. Money for food, you go count them for the month, for the week, put it in one envelope, call it food. Money for transportation, you bring it, call it this. Now, if you don't want to deal with cash, another way that you can get to do that is by having different accounts for different purposes. See, some of us have very poor discipline. You cannot want to work against your poor discipline by drawing from one account for everything. You will fail. So the best things to do, another thing to do is to have sub accounts. It can be an account nested in one big account, or it can be different accounts for different purposes. When money comes into the income account, you say money for food goes to this account, it stays there. Money for this goes to this account, it stays there. Savings has a different account. What it helps you do is that it helps you to be more disciplined. It helps you to see where you're going wrong. When all your money is lumped into one account, you don't know when you're overspending on food or when you're overspending on that. So sometimes you might tell yourself, out of 100K, you will spend just 20K on food, and you will spend 10K on transportation or fueling your car. This is just an example, right? If you're drawing from one account, you will know when one budget line have crisscrossed into another budget line, because you do not have that discipline to track your expenses every day. We understand, we tell people every day, track your expenses, but we know a lot of people don't have that discipline to track your expenses every day. So to remove that part of excessive tracking, pre-categorize your expenses ahead of time. Spend from the different categories. So instead of drawing from one account of 100K, you're drawing from one account that has just that 10K for transport. And you know that as you're looking at that account, as you're spending from it, if it goes down, you know that, I'm beginning, how have I been going to that I'm burning this amount? This is just first week of the month. You begin to take dressing. You begin to adjust yourself because you can see. The problem with our money and spending is most times we can't see until it's already too late. We can't see until it's already in the red zone. Then we start running kitty. But when you use sub-accounts, when you use different accounts for different purposes, or when you even use the envelope method for different purposes, you can see when one category is being overspent or not. You can see it clearly. So you protect yourself by separating your money according to the purpose they are meant for. Like I said, structure creates discipline automatically. And when you structure it and say, some of us save money, but our money doesn't go to any savings accounts that we don't have access to. But remember, savings is for two purposes: investing and emergency funds. Just for you to have it in mind, right? Our account, of course, save money, but it's still in the same account that we're spending from, that we claim to be saving. At the end of the day, almost nothing will be left. We go chop the savings, what we don't give to ourselves. We disappoint ourselves by chopping into our savings. We disappoint our future self by taking from our future self. So separate your money according to purpose. Especially that money that you're setting aside, that you're paying yourself. What you pay yourself is what you set aside for your future. Because a lot of people don't understand what we say, pay yourself. Paying yourself means that you are paying your future self. That's what your savings and investing money is. It is paying your future self. It is money for your future self. You see that money for your future self, ensure you have a separate account for it. Money for certain spending that you know can, lead you to not be in line with your budget, have separate accounts for it. It helps you keep track, right? It helps you monitor things better, and it helps you stay in line. Number 6 is expect emergencies. Don't be surprised by them. I would always tell you, emergencies are not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Right? So emergencies will always happen. And that's the reason why every day you should always have it in mind and prepare for emergencies. Especially when it comes to finance, emergencies will happen. In an economy with inflation, you will suffer more when you don't have a buffer for emergencies. Right? When transport prices quickly change without information, when food prices jump without warning, when health expenses rise, if you do not have emergency funds, you will get stuck in debt. So always make sure that your budget has a category for setting money aside for emergencies. That's part of your savings. For short term is for emergencies. Long term is for investing. I told you earlier, savings is for two major things. Savings is for emergencies and for investment. A lot of us do not understand what savings are for. And that's why we save money. So many of us are very good with savings. We can save for Africa. But the problem is what we use the savings for. For some of us, we'll save, the money we accumulate, we'll go and consume it, we'll go and burn everything. We'll burn it, we'll burn the money, burn the money, we'll go and spend everything. That's what we use our savings for. And that's not what savings are for. Right? We would always say that the amount of money you should have as emergency fund should be able to take care of your expenses for 3 to 6 months. How many people have money set aside somewhere that if they don't work for the next 3 months to 6 months, they are sure they have a buffer that can take them through those difficult times? Many of us don't. Why? Because we're living paycheck to paycheck. That's how we're living our lives. Paycheck to paycheck. The moment anything happens to that your job, everything crumbles. And you see, here's one thing about having buffer for emergencies. See, even when you lose a job, right? If you know that you have a buffer somewhere to carry you on for some time before you find the next job, you take quite some time to get the right next job. But when you know that as this job has ended, you don't have anything, you are under pressure to look for the next job. And that would make you not to make the right decisions. Most times we make the wrong decisions when we're under pressure. You get into the next job, the pressure doesn't end. Because for some of us, our problem is that our finances is on a steady motion of catch up. It's trying to catch up. Our money can't catch up. So every day we're running a rat race. We're running a rat race. You can't live life and you're not prepared for emergencies. You're not prepared for ifs. You're not prepared for, what if there's an emergency at the hospital? What if somebody... None. There's no preparation whatever. No preparation. And it's a problem. We're not prepared for anything. Emergencies is not a matter of, don't wait till God forbid. It's not a matter of God forbid. Emergencies will always come. You should have it at the back of your mind. They would always happen. The problem is, when will it happen? You don't know. So be prepared for it. Be prepared for it. But the problem is that we do not prepare for it. And when it hits us, we find ourselves in debt. Debts that will take us another 5 years to get out of. So having an emergency fund is sacrosanct. Your budget must always include that buffer for emergencies. You should have a small allocation for it. It doesn't matter how small, please. Even if it's 2K every month, have it if that's what you can afford. If it is 2K every week, have it if that's what you can afford. In fact, if you can do 2K every week, right, and do it consistently for 1 year, you'll be very close to $1 million in emergency funds. And you know the funny thing, if you live in this part of the world, if you live in Africa, emergencies are not far from you. Emergencies are expected. If you live in Africa, expect emergencies. Expect emergencies. So I think I'll take this question before I continue. So how do we handle savings when you're doing a capital project? How do you save? Because bulk of the money goes into capital project. How does one balance? Now, remember, I said something earlier. I said that your savings are for two major purposes. Your savings are for investing and for emergency funds, right? You're not expected at any time to leave money in the bank and just leave it and say you're saving money. Saving money in the bank does not work. The only money you're required to keep in the bank is that emergency fund. Why? Because it's supposed to be liquid. You should be able to access it when the need arises. And it shouldn't be much. That's why we say 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Now, the bulk of your savings should actually go towards investing. And capital projects are investments. So every month, you have a huge chunk of the investment going towards the capital projects, which is good. You're not expected to keep that money. Push it there. Push it consistently. Money in the bank does not yield you anything. Money in the bank is useless. So that capital project is an investment. That's the investment. Right? Now, what I'm saying is, as much as you are putting money into that investment, remember that you need to be liquid. You need to have some liquid cash for emergencies. Right? That's the one you leave in the bank. Small, small that you're going to be putting. Doesn't matter how small. And if you look within your budget, that is something that you can forego somewhere in your budget for you to be able to set aside that small, small money for emergencies. I hope you're with me. All right. So thank you for that question. So we move on. Number 7 is to cut lifestyle inflation. Cut it aggressively. Cut it aggressively. Right? Cut it aggressively. Well, now our income increases. Some of us, our income will increase slightly. Inflation will quickly eat it up. So one of the things you must do in an inflationary environment is to cut down on your lifestyle. Because if your lifestyle is at the same level with your income plus inflation, you don't finish. So cut down on your lifestyle. Some of us, our lifestyle is 5 years ahead of us. And that's a fact. Our lifestyle is 5 years ahead of us. We are still in 2026. Our lifestyle already is in 2031. Way, way ahead of us. There's a saying that Bishop David Oyedepo will say. He will say, men are in sizes, life is in stages. Some of us do not understand the stage where we are and the size we are at the moment. We are in stage 1, but we're living life like we're in stage 3. Some of us are in stage 20, but we're living like we're in stage 50. We're living like we're in stage 50. So we must cut down aggressively on the lifestyle. Somebody gave a testimony in the Money Click. I know Billionaires in the House. You might have seen that, or you might have skipped it. And the person said that what changed the game for her, having joined the Money Click last year, was that she was able to maintain her lifestyle at a particular level. Her income, she changed jobs June last year, and her income went up. But you know what she did? She maintained her standard of living, her lifestyle, at the previous income. What did that do? That gave her more leverage. The extra income that came went into savings and investing. She said for the past 8 years, 8 years of her life, she has been in constant debt. But for the first time, last year, she cleared all her debts. This year, January and February, she bought 2 lands. She bought 2 lands. 2 pieces of lands. Something that has never happened before. If you can be disciplined enough to curtail your lifestyle, you won't just survive in an inflationary economy. You build win with your money. Because the truth is that every day, what you're doing is that you're striving to earn more and more. That's what we're all doing every day. We're striving to earn more and more. But the reason why it's as if we're earning more and things, that's inflation aside. The reason why is we're striving, we're earning more, but it's like nothing is changing. It's because your lifestyle is moving faster than your income. Lifestyle upgrades, new subscriptions, unnecessary commitments. So at every point in time, you should ask yourself, does this thing I'm about to do help me stay stable or just make me look comfortable? Always have at the back of your mind that stability comes before appearance. That is one way that you can begin to curtail your lifestyle excesses. Always tell yourself, stability comes before appearance. My mentor had one that he told me a very long time ago. Kule Ologe. He told me, function before fashion. Years ago, when I was still in the university, he gave me that advice. He said, Emeka, always remember, function before fashion. I've had that at the back of my mind ever since. Always tell yourself, function before fashion. Stability before appearance. If you can remember that, then you will see the need not to do certain things. If you remember function before fashion, you might be wanting to change the cushion in your parlor, and you ask yourself, is this cushion functionable? You answer the question, yes. He said, there's no need. What I'm trying to do is change the appearance. That's just fashion. If you answer the question of function before fashion, you might not want to buy that new car you want to buy. Why? Because the car you have is very functional and efficient. Function before fashion. So I've shared something with you today that I learned from my mentor. All right, number 8 is budget for generosity, but with limits. Budget for generosity with limits. Budget for generosity with limits. Right? Budget for generosity with limits. Now, what do I mean? See, in inflation, money moves, money matters. You know, it moves more than how much you earn. How money moves matters more than how much you earn. So you should watch how your money moves. Right? You should watch how fast money leaves you. You should watch how daily leaks are going out of you. Small, 2K, 3K, 4K here and there. Watch it. Watch expenses that are always creeping up. All right? Watch it. Okay, sorry, I even skipped to another one. So I was talking about budget for generosity with limits. Now, African culture values giving a lot, right? Now, talking about budgeting for generosity but with limits, right? I made a mistake. I was talking about something else. African culture values giving a lot, right? And inflation doesn't cancel generosity. But what inflation demands of you is that you set boundaries for it. Some of us, we don't have boundaries with how we give, especially within families. We don't have boundaries. We don't have boundaries with how we give. We give anyhow. Follow come, follow go. As they come, you go. That's the money. That's the problem we have with our finances. We have a problem of what Coach Wendy of TIP calls uncultured generosity. Uncultured generosity is a problem. It will drain your money. Somebody told me one day that, how is she going to do now that in this inflation, that she still has to send money to people? People are asking her for money. How is she going to manage? I say you need to understand to start giving according to what you can give. So you know the problem with generosity with some of us is that generosity for us comes with pride. How is it going to be? I gave this person 2,000 yesterday. Now I'm giving the person 200. Sometimes it's pride. Sometimes it's pity. Everybody that comes your way, you have pity for them and you give them money. You cannot be giving at the expense of your financial health. I will tell you another thing my mentor told me very years ago. He told me when I just got into the university. And he said, if you must win with money, right, you must become selfish for yourself and for your immediate family. Some of us, people outside, they chop our money past people within inside our family. People outside chop our money more than our family members. People outside spend that. They enjoy your money more than your family members. Why? Because you do not have control of your emotions. It's not pity that we have for people. It's not. It's lack of control of our own emotions. It's because you can't control your emotions. That's why you feel. Some people say, I have a good heart. I have a good heart. I can't say no. When they ask me, what can I do now? It's not good heart you have. What you have is lack of emotions control. And that's why everybody that comes to you, you give, you can't say no. Not being able to say no is a problem. And like I said, that's why everybody should attend Healing for Financial Trauma course. It's coming up sometime in May or June. Everybody should be a part of that cause, because most times when we can't say no, it's because of trauma. It's because of some form of programming that we have. Right? So as you're budgeting for generosity, remember there has to be a limit. So you tell yourself, generosity this month has 10% of my income. Stick to the 10%. Stick to the 10%. Right? If 10% of your income is 10,000, know that what you have for generosity is only 10,000. If it's exhausted, you close that chapter and wait to the next month. Even if somebody comes and the person is throwing themselves on the ground, you say there's nothing I can do. Because there's actually nothing you can do. Where will you get the money from if you've planned every time? Where will you get the money from? So you tell the person, there's really nothing I can do. It has to be next month. Next month. Like I always tell people, I tell people that not just anybody, Money Click members. I tell Money Click members, for generosity budgeting, you need to have a 30-day rule. What's that rule? The rule is when that budget is exhausted, you need to give yourself 30 days before you can go back to it. So you finish the money, that's 10,000 that you mapped out for generosity. What you need to do is, anybody that comes again, you say, I've exhausted my money for this month. You don't even need to measure for generosity, but tell the person, I will look into it in my budget next month. That's the only thing you can do. But what we do is that most times we go and dig hands into different places where we're not supposed to, just to please other people and displease ourselves. Right? And then number 7, we're about to end the class. Number 7 is to focus on cash flow, not just income. Right? Focus on cash flow. You need to focus on the money that is moving in and what is moving out. You need to monitor what is moving in and what is moving out. Right? Most times, what we are concerned about is how it's entering. We're not concerned about how it's moving. Cash flow is about what is coming in, inflow and outflow. Cash flow is about inflow and outflow. So you should monitor your inflow as well as your outflow. What is going out? How often is it going out? What is causing that major drop in your finances? Is it a small 2K every day that you're taking out? Right? What expenses are creeping up that you don't plan for, you didn't plan for? Right? You need to understand that small daily leaks hurt more during inflation. Number 10, which is the last, is to accept that budgeting is now a skill. It's not a one-time task. In a high inflationary economy, budgeting is something that becomes a part of you. It's ongoing. See, discipline is key, but discipline comes faster from systems, and budgeting is one of that systems that helps you stay disciplined. Right? And you need to ensure that it is flexible, because flexibility beats rigidity. Right? And that's financial maturity. Getting to the point where you are consistent with your budget is financial maturity. So budgeting in inflation is not about controlling prices. It's about controlling your response to the prices. You can't control the prices in the market, but you can control your response. You may not control your economy, but you can control your priorities. You can control your structure. You can control your habits. You can control your buffers. And in uncertain times, clarity is wealth. Just being clear about your finances is wealth on its own. So know today that a budget is not just a plan. A budget is a financial guardrail, especially in a shifting economy. And that's why we end it today, so that we don't take much more of your time. That's where we end our live session for today, right? But remember that we're back here again tomorrow, strictly YouTube only, right? Because that's what Thursday live sessions are for. So on YouTube tomorrow, we're going to be back again talking about understanding cash flow. That's what we're talking about tomorrow on YouTube. Understanding cash flow, right? We need to understand how cash flow works. We need to understand why money enters, but it still disappears. Understanding cash flow will give you a good view to understand, how your money moves in and how it moves out. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of the Wednesday live session today. all billionaires, and encouraging people who are not yet in the Money Click program to be a part of it. Remember, I would always remind especially the Money Click members who are here. Remember that the journey that you are undertaking is to become better. One of the most important things about our money journey is not just about us. It is for our children and the people who are modeling after us. Remember, your blueprints, your behavior today becomes another person's blueprint. Your behavior becomes your child's blueprint. And that's why everybody should take their money journey seriously. You have relatives, you have friends who you know are not yet in the Money Click program. Bring them in. See, the Money Click can be a gift to somebody. It can be a gift to somebody. Clarity is wealth on its own. And that's what the Money Click brings you. It brings you clarity, right? We're also here to remind you that come March next month, 22nd, we'll be starting the second cohort of the Money Click program. And come March also next month, we'll be starting the Money Click Kids program. You have children, right? See, already, your children have already been programmed. So the method you should follow is from all sides. You are learning, you're teaching. We bring them, let us also teach them as well. In fact, there are certain things you will tell them now that they might not listen to again. But when they hear it from us, they take it more serious. That's the truth, right? So bring your children into the Money Click Kids program. We have an opportunity to bring them in now. And that opportunity is the March cohort that is starting next month. After the March cohort, once it closes, there will be no avenue to bring them into the Money Click Kids again till next year, 2027. So this is the time, right? This is the time. Don't say we didn't announce it. Somebody was very angry with me sometime, I think that was January this year, when we started the March cohort. And the person said, can you imagine, you didn't tell us about this January cohort for Money Click Kids. Why? The person was angry. But I said it every day. See, I'm always here Thursdays and Wednesdays, and I talk about this. On all our social media platforms, we post about it almost every day, right? Every week. Talk about Money Click Kids, but people eventually still say, we didn't tell them. Please, we're saying it now. And if you know somebody who has wanted to be a part of the Money Click program, please tell them that registration has started for March cohort. If you know somebody who wants to be a part, or who wants their child to be in the Money Click Kids program, please tell them now that the March cohort is starting very soon. Thank you so much for being here. Apologies for taking extra 7 minutes of your time. My name remains Chukwemeka Onyedisi. I'm your billionaire coach, right? And I'm the founder of the Naira Academy. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Guy, how far now?
I'm not really fine. Do you know they paid me last week, and right now I can't even boast up to 10,000 naira in my account?
Seriously?
Yes.
Did you budget?
Which one is budgeting? I'm not a politician.
That's why your money is missing like NEPA light.
But I didn't buy anything serious, shoes, bags, the thing that guys need now. And just like that, fiam, the money has disappeared.
But it's all these little things. That's why it's taking your money.
Nah. But what should I do?
See, you have to create a budget. You have to track your spending. You have to prioritize your needs over your wants. And you have to save before you spend, not the other way around.
So what you're trying to say that this money management thing is no child's play?
It's no child's play at all.
The Money Click is an annual financial literacy program to help you up your money game. The Money Click is not just about money, it's about mindset. So in the Money Click program, go beyond budgeting to rewire your thinking, to rewire your mindset, to change your thinking about income, to change your thinking about money management. So we'll help you grow your income, we'll help you manage it, we'll help you invest with confidence. Money is not just about what you know. Money is more about how you behave. And every day in the Money Click program, what we'll try to do is to influence how you behave about money. This is not just financial education. This is financial transformation. I will hope to see you become a part of it. Thank you.